good evening to you. Many thanks for joining us tonight on the broadcast. This is KUTV News at 9. It is the 26th of May 2025, exactly the top of the hour. That is the 9 p.m. So pleased to have you on board. It is the last Monday of May. So if you are having your countdown to Christmas, you know it's less than 290 something days to Christmas. So if you had begun your countdown, it is the last day of Monday, and we are so happy to have you on board on informing you on everything that has been shaping your world of news. But first, before we get into informing you, let's get an introduction.
This is KUTV Primetime News with Anyango, Sylvia.
That's right. On the sign language interpretation tonight is Brian Peru. Remember, KUTV News at 9 is also coming to you live on YouTube at KUTV News Kenya. You can also send us your feedback on X at KUTV_Kenya at Anyango Sylvia KE. Now we begin. Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has made new allegations following the abduction and recovery of Juja Member of Parliament, that is George Koimburi, who was found in a critical condition in a coffee plantation in Kibichoi on Monday morning. Gachagua claims that the government has created a special police unit tasked with harassing members of parliament who oppose his policies. He further alleged that this unit is drawn from a single ethnic community, raising concerns about its mandate and impartiality.
Rigathi Gachagua has continued his threats of accusation against President William Ruto. Today, he did it shortly after visiting Juja MP George Koimburi at the Karen Hospital, who was found in a critical state in a coffee plantation in Kibichoi. Gachagua now claims that a police unit has been formed by the government to harass MPs who are not aligned to the administration.
Had been set aside. And now we have confirmation that President William Ruto, CS for Interior Kipchumba Murkomen, and the Deputy Inspector General, Mr. Eliud Langat, all from the Kalenjin community, have put up a squad to deal with leaders who are opposed to this regime. The Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen has sent a message to us through common friends that his appointment to the Ministry of Interior is to make sure that William Ruto is re-elected as president.
This is the unit that Gachagua lays abducted and tortured Koimburi, adding that the MP was subjected to torture by professionals. He claims that the unit is made up of members from a single community.
A special squad of 20 police officers from the Nandi sub-ethnic community are the ones behind the abduction of George Koimburi, and they are the ones that were deployed in Kakamega to target the Honorable John Methu and Karungo Athango. Specifically, there were about 300 police officers who were deployed in Kakamega, but 20 police officers from the Nandi sub-ethnic community under the direct command of the Deputy Inspector General, Eliud Langat, and reporting to Kipchumba Murkomen and William Ruto.
Gachagua is now calling on the international community to intervene in the ongoing situation in the country, intensifying his recurring allegations of dictatorship in the nation.
Let me say that I want to appeal to the international community to rescue this country. William Ruto has become a very vengeful dictator, and his activities are similar to the one by Dr. Amin Dada and Mobutu Sese Seko. And the level of impunity in this country, if the international community does not come through for the people of Kenya, we are going to have not just killings, but maiming of elected leaders.
Even as Gachagua continues his allegation against the president, questions have been raised about the truth of these persistent claims. Are Gachagua's allegations factual, or are they driven by bitterness of being impeached from being the second in command? Blue Smile Hassan, KUTV.
Now, Kenya's political landscape is growing increasingly volatile, with concerns being raised following the abduction and critical injury of Juja Member of Parliament George Koimburi, a key ally of Gachagua, after attending a church service yesterday. The incident has fueled speculation about the government's method of dealing with its critics, with Gachagua and his allies accusing state operatives of intimidation and suppression.
Kenya's political landscape is heating up as the opposition led by former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua gains momentum, with rising tensions, public confrontations and claims of state repression. Gachagua's Democracy for Citizens Party is fast becoming a formidable force, challenging Ruto's administration ahead of the elections. Juja Member of Parliament and a close ally to Gachagua, George Koimburi, was found injured in a coffee plantation after being abducted on Sunday in Kiambu, where he had attended a church service. Koimburi's reason of abduction has not yet been given. However, according to the Office of the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, the MP has been on the run from the authorities after he was linked with land grabbing and corruption. Koimburi is now nursing injuries at the Karen Hospital, where he was rushed for treatment. Koimburi, who is a vocal leader in the opposition, is another case of mysterious abductions. However, the abductors have now been identified, with security agencies distancing themselves. Also, former Kakamega Senator and also the deputy party leader of DCP, Cleophas Malala, and Nyandarua Senator John Mwethu were attacked during a homecoming event for Malala. Police officers reportedly used tear gas to disperse the crowds and targeted Malala's vehicles, forcing him to flee on a motorbike.
Saa hii tumeona kuna mauaji ya makasisi ambao kanisa tunajua ilisimama na serikali hii mpaka ikakuwa serikali. Tafadhali suluhisha haya maneno ya hizi vifo ambao watu wanauliwa, wengine wanapotea njia ionekane. Tafadhali hiyo maneno Kenya kwanza sort out. Hatutaki maneno ya kupoteza makasisi wetu, hatutaki maneno ya Mkenya yote kupotea, hiyo hatutaki. Jukumu namba moja ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba kuna usalama wa kutosha kwa wananchi wao.
On the other hand, Machakos Deputy Governor Francis Mwangangi has urged the Kenya Kwanza government to prioritize national security following recent killings of Catholic priests and abductions of opposing leaders.
Now, the Music Copyright Society of Kenya, MCSK, has issued a public notice warning senior politicians against what it terms as economic sabotage of its members. This stern notice, released earlier today, comes in the wake of remarks by Democratic Citizens Party DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua, who criticized a section of Mount Kenya artists for allegedly receiving money from the government to promote its agendas. MCSK argues that such actions undermine the creative industry and exploit artists for political gain.
As the work of art continues to grow its influence on political landscape, all eyes of senior political leaders continues to get glued on music industry as a key strategy to boost their popularity ahead of the oncoming elections. Musicians have been used in the past to promote popularity of leaders, something that has raised concerns on its legality.
Allow me to say all protocols observed. My name is Samuel Mushoki. Mimi ni mwanamuziki wa nyimbo za Injili.
The Music Copyright Society of Kenya has released a public notice boldly warning leaders against negative utterances, which stated that they are not only an economic sabotage to their members, but also an avenue to divisive politics. This follows controversial utterances calling upon the public to boycott some of the artists' works following their engagement with the Deputy President Kithure Kindiki at Karen, which were made by DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua.
Wasanii wetu na waibaji tumehuzunishwa sana ya kwamba wamekuwa wasaliti ya jamii. Ati wameitwa pale Karen juzi na huyu mtu anaitwa Mr. Moneybags. Ati wanaambiwa wakuje wadanganye nyinyi SHA inafanya kazi. SHA inafanya kazi. Na wakamwambia ati watakuja kuambia nyinyi. Ati watuambie barabara zinajengwa. Atuambie masomo naenda mzuri. Mimi nimeketi na wazee jana usiku. Na tumesema hawa wasanii. Wazee wameniambia nitangaze hao wasanii waombe msamaha. Wasipoomba msamaha, tuache kusikiza nyimbo zao. Number 2, zile entertainment joint wanaenda wasiitwe huko tena. Na wewe kama ni mwenye klabu ukiita huyo mtu, customers wahame waende mahali ingine. Tena ile mtandao you unfollow them. Si ndio? You unfollow them. Because wameenda kuchukua shilingi 50,000. Na pahali wanaenda entertainment, wale watu wameenda pale kwa sababu akili imechemuka kwa sababu ile kasoko ametusumbua. Wanaenda kuwatubuiza ndio akili situlie. Hao wameenda kukaa na wale watu ambaye wametuumiza, wametuletea hizo shida. So you unfollow those artists, those who don't apologize to the community. And entertainment joint owners, you stop inviting them. And where you invite them, people should move from those clubs and go elsewhere.
Through the notice, MCSK has criticized the move and said that any entertainment joint which will comply with such incitement will not be allowed to play music licensed by the society. The society has said that engagement of artists with the Deputy President is just a way of exercising their freedom of association and a way to better the industry, which has proved to be a critical player in achieving both political and societal harmony.
Lazima hii safari tusafiri pamoja. Iko mambo mengi ya waimbaji, wanamuziki na hii creative industry. Nimesikia vile mmesema. We've not given it the weight it deserves. Kuna reforms tunahitajika tufanye. Nimesikia mambo ya collection of royalties, kuwe na digitized way, na hii mambo yenu ya pesa yenu hii ya watu ya simu. Ni kama wanachukua pesa yenu kwa njia za mkato, na hiyo mambo ingine yote mmesema. Some of you tuweke kwa some boards. Hiyo 5 umeomba, nitapeana those 5 positions kwa boards kutoka hii some of you here. Na tutaendelea, baada ya hiyo 5 tutaongeza wengine huko mbele. Si namna hiyo? So that will be done. That's why I'm here. Yeah. Kama mimi ni Deputy President na siwezi saidia wanamuziki wapate so.
The notice has further stated that musicians have always been the voice of reason during various state moments of tension, and it should never be sabotaged but supported instead. As the debate on artists continues to escalate, Kenyans have been caught in between viewing the artists' engagement with the government as a step to grow the industry or just a notch aimed to end the industry's watchdog role for the benefit of the political giants. Elimelech Modori for KUTV.
Now moving on away from Rigathi Gachagua, President William Ruto has unveiled a compensation initiative aimed at addressing the plight of communities affected by human-wildlife conflict. Speaking at Meru National Park earlier today, President Ruto reaffirmed his administration's dedication to restoring dignity and justice for communities living near wildlife reserves. The president highlighted the importance of timely payments to families impacted by human-wildlife interactions and announced plans for innovative funding mechanisms to ensure the sustainability of the program.
President William Ruto has officially launched the disbursement of 950 million Kenyan shilling in compensation payments to communities affected by human-wildlife conflict. This initiative is part of a broader government strategy to address the challenges faced by residents living alongside Kenya's rich wildlife heritage.
Gregory Mwenda, asante sana. Cheki ya shilingi milioni 2,500.
Samuel Kanavi.
President Ruto highlighted the importance of restoring dignity and delivering justice to these communities, many of whom have suffered significant losses due to crop destruction, livestock predation, and even personal injuries caused by wildlife.
Matatizo mengi yanatokea kati ya wananchi na wanyama wa pori kwa sababu wananchi hawaoni faida ya huyu mnyama. Na wananchi asipoona faida ya mnyama wa pori, hapo ndio kunatokea matatizo. Na ndio sababu we have to do justice. Kwanza ukitokea ajali, either mwananchi ameuawa ama ameumizwa ama ng'ombe yake imeliwa, ama mimea yake imeharibiwa, tuweze kuwalipa kwa muda mfupi, ndio wananchi wasipate hasara kwa sababu.
To ensure efficiency and transparency, the government is deploying advanced technology to eliminate delays in operationalizing the Wildlife Conservation Trust Fund, a sustainable financing vehicle supported by innovative funding mechanisms.
Yale malipo yanapatikana katika national parks zetu. Kulikuwa na shida kidogo pale, tukasema sasa yakusanywe kwa njia ya dijitali ama e-citizen. Mwaka uliopita tulinunua magari 100 ya KWS kuhakikisha kwamba wanyama wetu in different parts, in different national parks wanasimamiwa vizuri, na vile vile tunapunguza ile human wildlife conflict.
Since 2018, the government has paid out over 4.8 billion shillings in compensation, with a significant portion disbursed under the current administration. However, a backlog of claims has persisted, prompting the need for this streamlined approach.
Pale 2023, 2022, wale ambao ni rangers na wardens ambao wanatusaidia kulinda wanyama wa pori na kusimamia national parks, game reserves yetu katika Kenya, walikuwa wachache mno. Ndio nikaamurisha KWS waajiri vijana wengine 1,500. We need a lot of resources to make sure that we look after our wildlife. Tuko na poachers, tuko na wakora wanataka kuua wanyama, na pia wanyama wale wanaharibu mali ya wananchi kama tusipowachunga.
Today's launch marks a critical step in ensuring that communities on the front line of conservation efforts receive timely support, helping to balance wildlife protection with human welfare. Brenda Nyongesa, KUTV.
Now, tension is mounting in Tana River County as leaders push back against a government directive requiring residents of Masalani to vacate the area. Local leaders have vowed to take stern action against Interior Cabinet Secretary, that is Kipchumba Murkomen, who issued the controversial directive. The residents have expressed outrage, arguing they have no alternative shelter and that the move threatens to worsen their already dire living conditions.
Land dispute between the government and locals continues to intensify in Tana River County. Residents are now demanding that Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen immediately withdraw the eviction notice issued against those occupying Masalani area. Led by Tana River Senator Danson Mungatana, the residents have vowed not to allow their land to be taken without their full involvement, describing the CS actions as a blatant violation of human rights.
Huyu Murkomen aondoe hii gazette notice bila kusita, na tunakataa kuchukuliwa ardhi yetu bila sisi kuhusishwa. Wananchi wa hapa, wazee wa hapa, viongozi wa hapa, kina mama na wa vijana wa hapa, bila public participation.
They further condemned the government directives as a gross violation of the law and have now pledged to seek redress in court if the eviction notice is not extended without delay. Additional county leaders have urged the national government to suspend all its activities in the area and allow dialogue process to find a lasting solution to the dispute.
Tunataka waje huyo mtu ambaye anasema ule mradi ile area ni restricted aje atuambie ni hapa, hapa na hapa. Lakini ukisema hii ni restricted area, ina maana hii restricted area mpaka Chana. Kwa hivyo sisi hapa hatuna kazi tunafanya. Nikionekana kwa msitu nipigwe risasi na niko kwangu.
On May 16, the government through CS Murkomen published an official notice in the Kenyan Gazette directing all residents living in Masalani to vacate the area, stating that it will be placed under the protection of the National Intelligence Service, NIS.
Sisi kama watu wa Tana River tumewekwa nyuma sana. Mwalimu amesema hapa na amesema ukweli. Unasikia watu wanapewa ma title deed county zingine, county nyingine, lakini ikifika hapa Tana River unakwambia kwamba it is very big. Sasa kwa sababu ni kubwa sana inataka programu yake.
In a press briefing last Thursday, Senator Mungatana threatened to petition the Senate to summon CS Murkomen before the Senate Lands Committee. He added that he will use all available legal avenues to oppose what he termed as illegal land grabbing in Tana River County. Stephen Masha, KUTV, Nairobi.
Now that story by Masha takes us to a very fast break on the broadcast tonight. Stay with us.
Badala ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi hawana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili.
Bila uoga, watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi, wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi, hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Ni kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
Miti miti, panda panda, miti miti. Our planet's future is in our hands. However, there is a threat to the brightness of this tomorrow. On EarthCheck, we share the challenges, the solutions, and the hope.
I would call this a very momentous day, a very critical day.
Every episode, every story, every step we take creates a ripple. Join me, the environmentalist Emmanuel Kutosi, on KUTV every Wednesday at 8 p.m. and be part of EarthCheck. Welcome.
KUTV nilipatia mahali pa kunawiri makali yangu.
KUTV imenisaidia sana, and hadi wa leo I still meet people who tell me, si wewe ulianzeaga KUTV?
Sikuamini. Mfano kabisa ningesema hujambo mtazamaji kwa sauti, lakini wakati huu nikisema hujambo, yani inakuja na ile command.
Back then, as much as it's a long time ago, they still recall.
Unakumbuka nilikuwa hapa KUTV wakati huo. Alafu simu ikaingia namba 0719. Hello, this is the Standard Group.
So it shows that visibility is definitely important.
Nikilinganisha safari hizo mbili, kuna utofauti mkubwa sana.
It was a dream come true for me.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Anyango, Sylvia.
Welcome back. Now moving on to informing you, we are on to a very sad news tonight. Shock and grief engulfed Igogera village, Bombaba Burabu ward in Kisii County after a tragic incident where a 58-year-old man, Laban Ondari, fatally stabbed his foster son. The incident reportedly occurred after a heated altercation over long-standing family dispute escalated to violence. Baraka James narrates the occurrences of the unfortunate incident.
The suspect's senior wife, Judy Nyangirisa, narrated the ordeal as she witnessed how her husband butchered a stepson, citing that the suspect pounced on the deceased and stabbed him severally. When he came to see his mother and siblings, the victim was rushed to Landmark Hospital, where he was pronounced dead upon arrival, told him to be chased away from the home by the stepfather. The suspect was rescued from a mob by the police officers and is now detained at Kenyanya police station.
Huyu mwanaume akiendelea kumwambia, si nilikuambia kutoka hapa kwangu, na huyu mtoto anaendelea kumwambia, mimi sijaingia kwa boma yako. Kwa nini unaanza kunichokoza bure? Sasa wakaendelea kupurutana hivyo, nikaendelea kuambia huyu Ondeli wacha kupiga mtoto juu mtoto hana makosa. Sasa kupiga manduru watu kabla wachakuja alikuwa ameshamtunga kisu. Watu wakakuja tukampeleka hospitali.
Speaking to the press, the deceased family narrated how Ondari, a habitual jailbird, has been perpetrating gender-based violence to his 2 wives and children. The deceased mother's efforts to report the suspect have been unfruitful.
Nikatoka na hiyo panga. Niko na hofu yake nyingi sana kwa kunikimbiza. Nikaita chief. Akatoka nje. Kaniambia, "Ulikuja lini? Ulikuja nini?" Kamwambia chief, "Ondeli amenikozea. Wewe toka kwangu."
The suspect's brother also condemned the heinous act of Onderi, terming it as heartbreaking and evil. He emphasized that no disagreement should end in violence.
Nasema hii ni kitendo mbaya kwa area yetu. Sisi kama wale wasimamizi tunasimamia hii area yetu. Hii ni jambo mbaya. Hii ndio tunakimbiza hapa. Sasa ikiwa wasichana wetu, kama msichana amepata watoto anaishi kwao, wakikutana na kijana amuone kama ni mzuri anaenda kuishi na yeye, si anachukua wote hao watoto wake ndio anapenda zaidi.
The brutal stabbing has sparked outrage among family and community members who are now calling for justice and accountability. Reporting from Kisii County, my name is Blue Smile Hassan.
Now that story was produced by our very own Faith Njoki and voiced by Blue Smile Hassan. Now moving on, Health Cabinet Secretary, that is Aden Duale, today presided over the inauguration of the Benefits Package and Tariffs Advisory Panel, which will guide the Universal Health Coverage UHC reforms. The 16-member panel is mandated to give guidance on the design and review of health benefits packages, updating healthcare tariffs, and identifying priority interventions that are currently unavailable but urgently needed. The advisory panel secretariat will be hosted at the University of Nairobi's College of Health Sciences. Now, in other news, traders at Malaba Market in Busia County have voiced their concerns over the political wrangling that they say is hindering development projects in the region. The traders, led by Jacqueline Auma, Charles Ekisa, and Fred Waweru, expressed disappointment with the local political class for politicizing government initiatives aimed at transforming the Malaba one-stop border post into one of Africa's premier border entries. Their frustrations peaked after the national government announced plans to construct a modern state-of-art market worth 400 billion Kenyan shillings. The traders are now urging the Busia County government to proceed with the purchase of Amon land for the market's construction. They highlighted the urgent need for facility that can accommodate over 20,000 traders, many of whom currently operate along road reserves, exposing themselves to safety risks.
Tunahangaika tu, ukiangalia matope, kuna matope mingi, na soko tulikuwa tunalipa ushuru, lakini serikali iko na hatujai lipiwa hii soko, tunahangaishwa. Mwenye shamba anakuja anataka pesa ya soko, tunashinda sasa tuende wapi? Na tumezoea hii miaka yote tumekuwa tukilipa ushuru. Tafadhali tunaomba mtusaidie, tunahangaika. Tunahangaika, serikali tafadhali mulipe hii soko tukae na amani. Tumekuwa tukilipa ushuru kwa hii miaka yote, lakini kufikia saa hizi tunahangaishwa. Mara mwenye soko amekuja, mara sijui nini, serikali inataka ushuru, mara wenye soko. Tunashindwa sasa tuende wapi? Juzi tulikuwa tumeambiwa tuende huko msituni, na huko kuna majambazi.
Nataka tusaidiwe, hii soko iwe kwa mikono ya serikali, ili sisi wafanyabiashara pia tuwe huru. Kinyesha tunateseka zaidi, hata mnaona hii nyumba jinsi vile ilivyo, tunanyeshewa jinsi vile tulivyo. Hiyo mvua ikikuja na upepo, ndani yote vitu zinaloa. Hatuna mahali pa kukalia. Tuko na changamoto zaidi kwa hii soko.
Now we are taking yet another short break. We'll be back with sports.
Hi, my name is Stella Tioi.
Jina langu naitwa Okemwa Mokwa James.
This is Mandela Gaya.
Ugonjwa ulipokuja ulichukua siku 3 ukaniweka in coma. 20 wamezikwa, 2 ndio wako hai.
I don't even know how it feels to see.
I feel like I cannot express myself well the way somebody who can walk can actually express themselves.
Ilichukua muda mwingi mrefu tena mpana ili kuikubali kwamba mimi siwezi tembea tena.
I've come to actually accept myself.
Ukijaribu kumsimamisha mtu umwambie tafadhali nionyeshe njia,
They find it quite strange talking to you.
We should just make schools integrated
Inclusive setups.
by providing the right facilities.
Access to knowledge. Solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Welcome back. Now moving on in sports tonight, Kenya Police Bullets FC showcased their supremacy with a stunning 4-0 victory over Trinity Starlets FC in the 2024-2025 FKF Women's Premier League final at Arfama Stadium, Nakuru. The comprehensive win not only secured the league title but also kept a remarkable season with a double triumph for the team. As champions, Kenya Police Bullets FC have booked their spot in the CAF Women's Champions League, that is regional qualifiers, setting the stage for further glory on the continental stage. Rebecca Okwaro emerged as the league's top scorer, clinching the Golden Boot award with an impressive tally of 17 goals this season. Now across our borders, the curtain came down on the English Premier League yesterday, bringing an end to an eventful season that left fans with a mix of joy and heartbreak. Arsenal, Manchester City, Chelsea and Manchester United finished their campaigns on a high note, securing victories in their final matches. Clubs from different leagues have successfully booked their spots in the prestigious UEFA Champions League, Europa League and the Conference League, promising an exciting lineup of European football next season. Our sport correspondent Rajab Juma has more details on the season's final standings and highlights.
The 2024-2025 season is over and we have witnessed the greatness of football, especially from the European leagues, starting with the Premier League, which ended yesterday. Liverpool crowned for the 20th time in the club's history after winning this season's title with a total of 84 points. 10 points ahead of Arsenal with 74 points. Manchester City, Chelsea and Newcastle United finished in the top 5 and booked their tickets in the European football next season. Ipswich Town, Southampton and Leicester City have been relegated after finishing in the bottom 3 positions of the English Premier League table. Meanwhile, Manchester United manager Ruben Amorim has apologized to Manchester United fans for their poor season. In his speech after their 2-0 victory against Aston Villa, Amorim said they will return next season even stronger. In the German league, Bayern Munich are champions with Bayer Leverkusen, Eintracht Frankfurt and Borussia Dortmund finishing in 2nd, 3rd and 4th places respectively. Napoli are the champions of Serie A with a total of 82 points, 1 point ahead of Inter Milan, with Atalanta and Juventus finishing in the 3rd and 4th positions respectively. PSG, who have been dominating the French league for more than 6 years, won their 13th league title and the 7th time in a consecutive in the league. Olympique Marseille secured 2nd place with AC Monaco closing the top 3. With clubs heading into the summer break, some clubs have begun preparing for next season by registering new players ready for the 2025-2026 season. Rajab Juma, KUTV.
Now that brings us to the end of our broadcast tonight. Thank you so much for choosing our news tonight. That is KUTV News at 9, and for staying with us this far. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Brian Peru, and I'm Anyango Sylvia. Have a good night.